Love it. The thing is, I've got options. I've got all kinds of options. I just need to figure out what's going to work the best before I proceed from here on. And this is the cool part about building tree stands. Once you get your braces and stuff in, it's all up to your imagination. It's your build. Use your imagination. Make it cool. Make it awesome. Let's see what we can build. All right, guys, we are back out here. I've got the lumber delivered. I'm dropping it off. I put 4 up here. I got the rest of it. Oh, hit a tree. Got the rest of it down here. And I ran into an issue is at our local hardware store, they didn't have the UHMW plastic that I need. And what that does, I'll show you what you do, because this joist is actually going to get tied down on the big inside on the sycamore tree, but on this smaller side it's got to be able to free float. I'm not going to actually screw the floor to this support. I'm going to leave it free floating and it's going to be able to slide back and forth. So I needed that UHMW sheeting to go under here, so that way it encourages gliding, because if not, you sit it on here and it's wood on wood, and you know when you rub 2 sticks together what happens. We don't want that. And I've actually got homework tonight, so that is my homework. Tomorrow we're going to pick this up and we're going to be able to put this together, but first it's homework time. You'll see. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure, I'm going to mark my beam. So I'm going to start off over here on this side. So I'm going to put my floor joist at 16 inches on center. You can actually go wider. I think some other people do like up to 2 feet for a floor joist. Consult your own board span measurement guides for the areas that you live in. Where I live in is a little different than where some of you may live in. People over on the western coast, especially in the northwest, you're going to have a lot more moisture, a lot more snow and water and stuff that's going to sit for longer than what we have. So that dictates how far you can actually spread your joist. Here in Kentucky, I could get by with 2 feet, but I'm going to go with 16 on center just because of how much weight I need to support. But based on the rest of the weight and stuff that I have to support, I'm going to put my joist closer together so it adds more strength. So I'm going to mark them 16 on center. So every 16 inches, I'm going to make a mark. What this mark is going to indicate is where my joists are going to sit. However, I'm pulling from the outside over. So when I go and put my joist on the outside, I now need to know that that mark is going to be the actual inside of where my joist is going to sit. So I want to put my joist from where I'm standing left of where this line is, on every single line. First joist flush with the very edge of that board where I pulled 16 at. When I put my next joist on the left side of that mark, it's going to mean center of the first floor joist and center of the second floor joist will be right at 16 inches. That's very important for later when you go to put your flooring down, to know where to put your screws in, especially if you put all the flooring down first and then you can't see your joist, to be able to know where your screw hose and stuff goes, where all your joists are. So anyway, so that's going to be my marks. I'm going to do that also with the other side on the sycamore tree. I made my marks at 16 on center. So now what I've got to do, double check. Always double check. Better to measure twice and only cut once. So my 2x8s, when they're milled down, 2x8s when you cut them and they're cut straight from the sawmill, they're actually cut 2 inches, and by the time they get done with the planer, it actually comes down to less. So these 2x8s are actually 1.5 inches wide. So now I've got my mark. So every 1.5 inches past each one of these marks, I'm going to make another mark. So this one, for example, you can see is at 64. So I'm going to go 1.5 inches. So that's 65.5. This one's at 80, so that's 81 and a half. What I'm doing here is I'm also marking the sides, so that way once I put my homework on top of it, I'm not gonna be able to see my lines no more. So I need to make sure that once that I can still see exactly where I'm gonna be having my lines, so that way I know where the floor joist is gonna sit. All right, so some of you hopefully caught on to that little tidbit of homework. So now, because I didn't have the UHMW plastic to put down to support the slide, we're redneck engineering it. So I got my homework from last night. I took the cans and I actually cut them open and stuff. So now I've got some aluminum. I'm gonna put that down. That's gonna be the support system to help with the gliding. So I got my spot here where my floor joist is gonna sit. I'm gonna put this can down. I'm gonna take some roofing nails. And just tack it down. So I just need to create a place to where when the board is sitting on top, it's gonna slide on the can, on the aluminum, and not getting friction on the board. I've got my cans, my aluminum down. They are sitting right where the joists are gonna go. You can see, oh, now you can see. All right, so I got my joist is gonna actually sit right here. Over here on this side, on this yoke, I'm actually gonna do the same thing. I pulled from this side of this yoke, pulled over. So I'm gonna start from the same side and pull from this side and go over and do 16 inches on center on every single one of them. Make my marks. I'm gonna put my joist up. I'm mainly doing this because the majority of this, I'm out here by myself. And so it's gonna act as a second pair of hands. So when I put the joist up, it's gonna keep it from just like falling off the edge. Let's go ahead and put the first one up. I'm too excited to wait. This is the part about tree stand building that I love the most, is I've got a plan, but at this point, we can change it. We can make any changes we need to based on what issues and circumstances and the way things that come up and the way the trees are. So my original plan is to have the joist hang off the back 12 inches, and then that gives me almost 3 feet of overhang for the front porch. I don't want to go any more than 3 feet. 3 feet is about the most cantilever that I can actually go over the front and still be supportive. It may still dip a little bit in the front when you're standing on that corner, but 3 feet is about the maximum you want to go over your last support beam. So I'm gonna double check now. I've got it set to 12 inches. I just want to double check and look at it and see if I like that or if I want to change it and go to more of an overhang in the back and less of an overhang in the front, and I can make adjustments how I need to. I kind of like that. It's also giving me the first glimpse of kind of what it's going to look like once I get the floor joist on. Because I have, and I got more sycamore branch shoots sticking off the back, I've actually got more options than just a square cabin, and create another like little porch there with a ladder going up the tree, and I can create another platform up top. Let me show you what you also got to do. I've been doing this, but haven't been telling you. You also got to check for crown. So you want to make sure that you don't have a bow in your joist. And when I go to check the crown on this one, I don't know if you can see that. You should be able to. There's a big warp in it. So I'm going to save this one for the middle short brace. And so I'll save this one for the middle. And let me switch that one out. What I'm doing is I'm marking my 12 inches. I haven't got a little bit moved forward, but I want it 12 inches overhang in the back here, and then I'm toenailing into the angles. So I got one going this direction and one coming this direction, so they're going in at an angle to help hold this in place. This side's going to be free floating, but then I'm going to have to put some blocking in between this as well. So now we're on to this middle section. So I'm going to skip this one and go to the... Here's where the middle section gets different. You really don't want to put your joist... You want to stay about 6 inches away from the tree to give it room to grow. The problem is now my 12-inch overhang on this one, you can see it's actually going to hit that tree. So I'm not going to be able to go a full 12 inches overhang. It's going to create an issue. So I've got to bring it up a little bit to get it away from the tree. Come check this out. So in order to keep the space, all right, I was only able to go about 4.5 inches instead of 6, but that's going to give this plenty of room to grow. I might have issues with the middle one, but now I've got plenty of room. Plenty of room here. You can already see it moving. So it's already doing its job. It's already working. So this side screwed down, this side free float. When the trees blow, it's just gonna slowly move. It's gonna stay level. It's gonna stay fine. It's just gonna glide. So we got the floor in. I got them pigeon-toed. I'll do something about that later. So I've got them right inside my marks. I got this one free floating, this one extra long, this one back to normal. Got my 12-inch, my line right there, and then so back here I can build like a little platform. I'll put another door right here coming out this way. Just gives me more options. So it doesn't have to be cookie cutter square. You can make angles. You can add stuff to it. But I love this part of the build because you actually get to see what it's really going to look like. You can see it starting to take shape. Your imagination can take over. You can start to see the possibilities. Love it. Love it. All right. I need to measure for this middle beam right here. I need to measure. All right, pull my tape out and I'm gonna measure. Center of this board to center of this board is 16 inches. All right, so that's 16 on centers. So that means the inside of my boards, my blockings, are going to be right at 14 and 9/16 actually. So 14 and 9/16. So I've got to make one on this back side, and I'm going to make 1, 5, 6. So I'm gonna make 12, and I'm gonna put 6 on the back and then 6 on the front too. Another issue that a lot of people think is when you nail something to a tree, different trees grow at different rates and things, but we don't ever have to really worry about this tree growing up more. It's really going to grow more just up at the top, and the branches are going to branch out more. It's not really going to grow up, it's just going to grow out. It's just going to get fatter like me. So I don't have to worry about the trees growing at different angles and tilting the tree stand or tree house. It's going to be right in here. I want to leave some limbs up. I'll trim off some here because I'm going to have steps coming up here, and there's going to be the door to the cabin. It's going to be right here. So we'll come up here, go in between these trees for the door, and then I'll probably have another door on that backside. I can go out it, and then I'll make some kind of a ladder system to go up, and then we'll make another level way up on top if I can get over the PTSD of heights. So, but that's the plan. We're going to check and see if this is going to hold through the storm tonight. I got some reclaimed lumber from a deck a buddy of mine took apart, and so I'm going to use this and cut this up for the blocking. So I'm going to take these 2 to the house and cut them, cut my 12 blockings, and I'll come back and we'll block these all together. All right, there you go. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the blocks in between, and I'm putting 3 screws on each side. Got the blocking in, I've got them staggered so I can come back through. I don't have them finished, but I just got them tacked up. I'm out of the screws. Starting to take shape. This is gonna be fan-stinking-tastic. So, anyways, I got a little more to do. I think you're supposed to put blocking every like 4 to 6 feet. So I'm gonna have to cut some more and put it in the middle, about halfway in between here somewhere, so that way it's about every 4 feet, and then that'll give me plenty of strength. So I'll go cut 6 more, and but I'll work on that another day. It's starting to rain, getting water droplets, but it's at least cool to be able to see the movement. All right, you ready to go, Iggy boy? You ready? You ready? Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Yeah. All right, we're going home.